green marble crochet tutorial. For this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make this really very quick, very simple spring beach top design that I've come up with. Not a lot goes into it, it's quite fast. The only time consuming bit might be this lower wavy part, which you'll see when we get into it, but aside from that, it's very, very basic. I hope you like it. Yes. There's not a lot that I can say. We can definitely just get straight into making it. However, if you haven't subscribed but you would like to subscribe to join me for some more tutorials, I would love to have you join me. A big thank you to my patrons. Thank you for your support. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my videos. Yeah. If you need to get in contact with me very quickly for anything, if you need my help, please see in the description below for all my relevant links for places that you can find me. Alright, yes, aside from that, let's just get straight into making this. Alright, so to begin with, we're going to have a quick look at the tiny details and the labels of the yarns that we're going to be using. So this is some new stuff that I've bought, and this is just some old brillantina that I'm recycling because I've got a lot of it lying around, and I just think this one particularly is going to look really nice with this yarn. So this is the primary yarn that we're going to be using for the top, and we're just going to use this one for edging and straps. For this design, I'm going to be using two different size hooks, actually, because for this, well, we're going to have a look at the tiny details first before we go into that. So, for the new stuff, we've got this label. If you need more time to look at anything, just pause the video. So we're working with this. Also, I just want to mention quickly that if at any point during the tutorial you feel like I'm going too fast, there's a feature on YouTube where you can slow down the speed of the video. So I always just suggest doing that, just so that you can keep up at your own pace, you know? Alright, so here are the tiny relevant details. For this one, wow, they are really small, aren't they? Alright, that's better. So, it's saying here that I should be using a 4 or a 5mm hook. So for this yarn, I'm going to be using my 4. And for the brillantina, because I've got labels and stuff lying around, we've got this. This is the label for that. Again, pause the video if you need more time to look at anything. Yes, just recycling it because, you know, it's good to recycle. This is a particularly sturdy yarn as well, so you can reuse it a few times. This is probably the last time I'll reuse this one, but, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Alright, so here are the tiny relevant details for this one. So for this one, it's saying I should use a 3 or a 4. So I'm going to be using my 3 just to do the edging and the straps. And I think that's going to look pretty good. Alright, so I think we can just begin. Alright, so we're going to start with this one, and what we're going to do is take the end of our yarn, and we're going to begin by making a slip knot. So to make a slip knot, you take the end of the yarn between your thumb and your index finger of your right hand, like this. Then with the middle finger and the index finger of your left hand, you're going to wind the yarn around like so. Grab onto that working end and pull tight like this. Now, normally if it's a yarn that doesn't have things that are going to catch like this one does for me, you can just pull it tight right away. But because I've got sequins that are preventing me from sort of doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to pull that slip knot too tight just yet. I'm going to adjust the hook through. I'm going to make sure all the sequins are not obstructing that slip knot for me. Pull tight just like that. Yeah, just like that. That was really just for my benefit. But anyway, okay, so what we've got to do is we're going to be doing a sort of a ribbed upper torso section. So to do that, what you want to do is you want to chain a length that will vertically cover your bust area. That's really what you want to do. So for me, that's going to be about 20 chains. And to make a chain stitch, it is yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over, pull through the loop. So that's 3 chains just there. Let's focus better. And we'll do it again. Yarn over, pull through the loop. So that's 4 chains. Now I'm going to go away and chain 20. We'll meet back up and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, and here I am with my 20 chains. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to chain an extra 1, and that one's going to be for turning. So what we're going to do now is skipping that first chain from the hook, you're going to single crochet into that second chain from the hook just there. So you can see that's that first one. You're going to move to the next one. You're going to insert your hook into that chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's a single crochet. So I've just done the first single crochet of the 20 that I'm going to be doing all the way back to the beginning. So let's do the next one together. Go into the next chain just like this, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So now I've got 18 left to the beginning. So I'll meet you at the beginning when I've done all my, well, when I've got all my 20 single crochets, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, so here I am back at the beginning of that chain, and that's what that's going to start to look like. So what we're going to do now is we're going to, right from your last stitch, you're going to chain up 1. So chaining up 1 just like this, and now we're going to turn the work like this. Now, our first and our last single crochet of each row from now on is going to be through the whole of the stitch. And what I mean by that is if you turn it to the top just there, you can see there's a V on the top of the stitch. So for that first one just there, what we're going to do is we're going to go in through the side just there beneath both parts of that V. You're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. But for stitches 2 through to 18, no, yes, no, 2 through to 19, sorry, we're going to be working into the top back part of the stitch. So you see that next stitch along just there, you're going to go into the top back part of that V. Hang on, I'll get a bit closer just so you can see that better. So there's that V at the top of the stitch. Go into the top back part just like this, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, single crochet. So that's for stitches 2 through to 19. We'll go away, do that, we'll meet back up. Alright, so here I am at the end of the row, and now for that last stitch right at the end just there, we're going to once again go in beneath both parts of the V at the top of that stitch. You're going to yarn over, try not to come unstuck. So once again, going in beneath both parts of that V, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, single crochet. So there we go, we finished our second row. So now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn the work again. So basically what you're going to do now from now on is you're just going to be repeating the last row. You're going to go in beneath both parts of that V at the top of the stitch for the first stitch, go into the top back part of stitches 2 through to 19. For stitch number 20, you're going to go beneath both parts of the V on the top of the stitch with your single crochets, chain up 1, turn the work, repeat the process. So what we're doing is we're doing this until, actually just quickly, so what you're doing just there is you're creating the ribbed effect. And what we're going to be doing is repeating that process until you've done enough rows so that you can wrap it around yourself, around your bust area and your back, so that it fits comfortably. So you don't want it to be too tight at all, just not too loose, not too tight, just very, very comfortable. Use your discretion, but you got to remember you want to be able to sort of slip this on over your head. And your shoulders, which is, you know, honestly going to be more of an issue, I think. You know, I'm just really making this up as I go along at this point, but I think that would be more of an issue for, you know, someone like me who is slightly smaller chested. So that's what you got to remember. Just make sure you'll be able to slip this on over your head once we've done it up. But you know, you'll see what I mean once we get to the end. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. You know what to do from here. So yes, we will meet back up very, very shortly. If you want to see what I mean by that, just stick around till it skips to the next bit and you'll see what I mean by what we've got. Alright, I'll see you soon. Alright, now then, here I am with all my rows of ribbing. So that's what that looks like. And for me, it was 120 rows before I'm ready now to join the ends together. So we're going to do that. And what we're going to do is you're going to make sure that your final stitch, just leave your hook through it, make sure it's facing towards you like this. So I'm going to tilt the camera down so I can show you how we're going to join. So the final stitch is facing towards me, and what we're doing is we're bringing the other end together with this end that we've just completed. And what you're going to do is you're going to be single crochet joining all of the stitches together. So for me, that's the 20 single crochet joins that I'm going to have to do. So you're going to, let me just focus a bit better. You're going to look for the first foundation chain along on the end just here, and you're going to insert your hook through that, just above that first stitch that you did just there. You're going to grab the yarn like this, making sure it's towards the back of you. You're going to yarn over, pull through a loop, make sure that's tight, yarn over, pull through two, so you've single crocheted that first stitch. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make sure you just sort of have enough, yeah, that's fine. You're going to drop that loop that's on the hook just like that, hold it to the side. You're going to go into the next stitch along. So that won't be that first one just there because you've already done the single crochet join for that. It's going to be this next one along just here, and you're going to stick your hook through that just like this. You're going to reattach that loop that you just dropped like so. You're going to pull it tight. You're going to pull that loop through that stitch. You're going to move to the next foundation chain along on the side, on the other end just here. You're going to go into that, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, single crochet. So that's 2 of my 20 single crochets joins that I'm going to be doing. So I'll meet back up with you once we've done all that. I think you know what to do from now. So now you're just dropping that loop again, going into the next stitch along, just like this. Reattach the loop, pull it tight, pull it through. Oh, it's a bit tricky with that sequin there. Pull it through that stitch, just like that. Move to the next foundation chain along, which for me is just there. The sequins are making it tricky. Alright, yes. So I think it's just there. How annoying. Alright, yeah, like that. Single crochet. So there you go. I'll meet back up with you once we've done all of our single crochet joins, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, see you soon. Alright, now here I am, and I finished my 20 single crochet joins. So what we're going to do now, at this point, if you weren't putting edging in on the bottom and only doing it on the top, but I'm going to be doing it on the bottom, so we're going to be doing something a bit different. But if you weren't, what you could do at this point would be chain up 1 or 2 if you're working in double crochets, which I think I am. Okay, yes, you would chain up 2. So 1, 2, and you would just put a double crochet straight from this last single crochet join that you did in this chain of 2. You'd just be putting a double crochet into every row end all the way around, just like this. So for me, it would be 120 double crochets into all of those row ends. And I like to crochet these, these loose ends in as I go along. So there's that. However, I'm not doing that. I'm adding this darker blue edging to the bottom of this top part as well. So we're going to be doing that. And now, just inserting my hook back through that final stitch. Okay, yes, so here I am, and what I'm going to do now is straight from my last single crochet, I'm just going to chain one like this, put the yarn down, find my scissors. I'm going to find my scissors just here. I'm going to cut the yarn, so I'm cutting it just there, just like that. Pick this up, and I'm just going to pull through that chain, just like that. Pull tight to tie it off for the moment. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add this to the bottom part, which is going to be this part just here. I'm going to add this to the bottom part of this top. Alright, now then, switching to the 3mm hook. So we've got our 3mm and the darker blue. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to where we tied off, so just here. We're going to find the first row end along, so the first row end of the ribbing. We're going to insert our hook through that first row end just there, so that's just there like that. Hang on, where are we? So just in there, stick your hook through there. You're going to find the yarn that you're working with, find the end, and adjusting the camera, we're going to make a slip knot, adjust that slip knot to your hook, pull tight. And I'm just going to pull that loose end through like this because I'm working on the inside of the work. So what we're going to do now is we're going to chain up 1, and we're going to be working half double crochets into each row end all the way around until you've got the the same number of stitches as you do for the row ends. So for me it's going to be 120 stitches, half double crochets, and a half double crochet is yarn over. You're going to go back, I'm going to work a half double crochet into that same row end where I put my slip knot and chain of 1, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. So that's a half double crochet. We'll do the next one together again. So yarn over, and there's your next row end just there. So the row ends are going to be really easy to find because you put every first and every last stitch of each row end through the whole of the stitch, and that just makes it easier to find that row end. So there's your next one just there, yarn over, go into the row end, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. So into each row end we're going to do that, and I'm going to meet back up with you once I've done my 120. We'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, see you soon. Alright, now here I am at the end of the round, so I've got all of my 120 half double crochets into each row end, one into each row end. So what we're going to do now is just looking for, I'm going to pull all those disgusting loose bits to the back just there, making sure they're on the inside. What we're going to do is we're going to put a slip stitch into that stitch right at the beginning there, so that stitch above the chain of 1. That very first stitch, you're going to go in, you're going to insert your hook, just like this, pull through a loop, and then pull that loop through your last stitch, just like that. So we're slip stitching to close the round. So now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, you're going to put that down for a second, find your scissors, cut the yarn, yes, just like that, put those scissors down, and pull that chain through just like that, pull tight to tie off. Alright, so we've got that edging on the bottom just there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to be working from the other side, so making sure the right side is facing towards you. We're going to grab this yarn again, I'm going to make a slip knot. I'm going to do that off camera because the sequins get in the way. Alright, now here I am with my slip knot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put that aside for a second. I'm going to find the I'm going to find the stitch the slip stitch from the previous round that we just did. So that edging, you're going to stick your hook through that first stitch just there, so the slip stitch. You're going to pick up that loop that you just made, adjust it to your hook, pull tight, and then pull that loop through that first stitch just there. So I'm pulling that through just like that. Now we're going to be working in double crochet. So what you're going to do is you're going to chain up 2, so 1, 2. You're going to put your first stitch into where we're going to the next stitch along. So yes, and you'll see why. So your last stitch is going to be into that one just there. Actually, no, let's just put our first stitch into this. So for the it's very late, I can't talk properly. So for our first stitch, we are going to go in beside that slip knot and chain of 2. So just going into that stitch, I'm going to do that for this first round. Might be a little bit tight because of the previous yarn. Oh, 1 second. Alright, yes, so I'm in. So what we're going to do now, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's a bit messy. I'm going to do it again, but you get the idea. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting in 120 double crochets all the way around. This is very frustrating. Alright, so having done that first stitch off camera, let's just move on to the next one. So we're doing double crochets, yarn over. You're going to go into that next stitch along, so that one just there. Pull up a loop. Super messy, but that's okay. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So double crochets into each stitch around till you get to the end. Once you've done all those, we're going to meet back up and we're going to talk about how we're going to start increasing. See you soon. Alrighty, so here I am with my 120 double crochets all the way around. So what we're going to do now is we're going to find the stitch at the top of the chain 2 just there from the beginning. I'm going to go in, we're going to slip stitch through there to close the round. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to chain up 2, so 1 and 2. Okay, yes, so I just had to check because normally what I do at this point is I'll chain up 2 and I'll turn the work because I don't like the seam to drift to the side. But for this design, I don't really think it's going to matter. And also, what I'm wanting to do is, so for this next round, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be increasing into every 10th stitch. So there's going to be, what do we got, 12 increases. So that's two stitches into every 10th stitch. And for the round after that, it's going to be 2 stitches into every 11th stitch. So that's going to try and create a nice wave sort of increase throughout the whole thing. And we'll see how it goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over. You're going to go into that first stitch just there right beneath that chain of 2. So that one just there, that's going to be your first one. So 1, 2. So I'll meet you at the 10th stitch along. Alright, so here I am just about to go into the 10th. So into that 10th one, I'm going to put 1 double crochet and another double crochet into that same stitch. So that's what we're doing all the way around. Now you're going to count to 10 again, and into the 10th stitch, 2 double crochets. We're going to do that all the way to the end of the round. We'll meet back up and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, so here I am at the end of the round with my 2 stitches into every 10th. So now what I'm going to do is just slip stitch into that stitch right at the beginning, at the top of that chain of 2 to close the round, just like that. So what we're going to do now is chain up 2 and continuing in the same direction. We're not going to turn or anything like that. We're going to put our first stitch into that stitch right beneath the chain of 2 just there. And for this round, we're going to be putting 2 stitches into every 11th. So this is how I'm going to progress until I'm happy with the flow of the wavy things that I'm trying to create. So I'm thinking that it's probably going to be for 5 rounds. So how that would progress, or how it's going to progress, is that, so for this round, we're doing 2 stitches into every 11th. For the next round, it would be 2 stitches into every 12th. Round after that, every 13th, and so on, until you're happy with the width and the flow of the top. So that's how that's going to go. I will let you know how many rounds of increase I've done once I've done it. However, so once you're happy with the increased rounds, you're just going to continue rounds of no increase until you're happy with the length of your top. So after we've done that, we're going to meet back up and we're going to put our edging and straps on the top. Alright, so let's just go. Let's go away. Let's finish off the length of our tops. Alright, yes. See you soon. Alright, so we're back again and I've crocheted this to a length that I'm happy with. So it's looking pretty good. I also added some edging at the bottom just there, and I did that the same way as I did with the half double crochets and just there between the ribbed bust area and the rest of the body. So I did that and it looks good. I'm very happy with it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put edging and straps on the top. So what I've done here is we're going to do the straps a little bit different this time, just because I don't want to do the same old ones that I always do. So what I've done is I've marked out the 2 stitches right in the middle at the front. I need a sip of water. Okay, so right in the middle of the front I've marked out the 2 middle stitches because we've got 60 on either side because we've got 120 rows. So also what I've done is I've marked out 14 along from each of these middle markers. So there's the 14th one there, 14th one there. And what we're going to do is we're going to sort of create sort of a triangle-y type thing for the straps, and you'll see how that is. You'll already have seen how that is, but you'll see how we're going to do it. So what we're going to do to begin with is we're going to turn back to the back, turning around just like this. You're going to go back to where you joined at the back just there. And I've got the right side facing me, so the right side, the wrong side on the inside with the messy bits is just there. I'm going to be crocheting on the right side. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick up the hook that you're using. So we're still using our 3mm because we're working with the finer yarn. And what you're going to do is you're going to stick your hook through the first row end along. You're going to grab your yarn, you're going to make a slip knot like so. Actually, I'm going to do a smaller tail. Make a slip knot. No, that's okay. You're going to adjust it just like that, pull it through, and basically you're just doing what you've done before. You're going to pull that tight. You're going to push that loose end aside, chain up 1, half double crochet in beside that. I'm going to crochet that in as I go along. Half double crochet in beside the slip knot and chain of 1, just like that. Then putting a half double crochet into each row end until you get to the first stitch marker just here. And I'll meet back up with you at that point and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, see you soon. Alright, now here we are at that first stitch marker. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a half double crochet into that row end, and at this point we're going to chain 22. Alright, and here we are with that 22. So now what we're going to do is skipping the first chain from the hook. So let's try and get a bit closer. Skipping the first chain from the hook, we're going to slip stitch into the second chain along. So that one just there. And we're going to be slip stitching into, that's going to be the first of the 21 chains that we're slip stitching into all the way back to the beginning of the chain. Alright, and here I am back at the stitch marker. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take out that stitch marker so it's not in the way. Shove it aside. We're going to put another half double crochet into that same row end as the previous one before the chain. So there, just like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a half double crochet into each row end until we get to the next stitch marker. I'll meet you at that point. Alright, and here we are at the next stitch marker. So once again, we're going to put a half double crochet into that row end where the stitch marker is. And at this point, we're going to make a chain of 120. Hang on a second. Yes, sorry. We're going to make a chain of 121. Okay, now here we are with our 120 chains. So what we're going to do now is we're going to slip stitch, skipping that first stitch at the beginning, skipping that first chain right at the beginning, the first chain from the hook. We're going to slip stitch into 99 chains backwards. So make sure you count along. So we've done 1, this is 2, 3, so 99. So I've done 3. We're going to do 99 chains. I'll meet you once you've done 99 slip stitches, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alright, so I've slip stitched into 99 chains. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pick up that previous chain of 22 that we did, and we slip stitched into 21, making sure not to get that twisted. I'm actually going to tilt the camera down a little bit so you can see a bit better what I'm doing. So making sure that's not twisted, what you're going to do is straight from that last slip stitch that you've done just here on the chain of 120, straight from that 99th slip stitch, you're going to pick up this chain of 20. You're going to, so you see there's that first slip stitch just at the top there. If you can shove your hook through the middle of that very first slip stitch, and you'll find that you go through both of the chains. So the chains that make up the slip stitch, just like that. So you're just shoving your hook straight through the top of that slip stitch, and now what you're going to do is you're going to move to the next chain along after the 99th on the other chain. So I know this seems kind of awkward, but just stick with it. So you're going into that one just there, yarn over, pull through that chain of 20 slip stitch, pull through like so to secure. So just like that. And now what you're going to do is you're going to move on to, there should be 20 chains to slip stitch into all the way back to the beginning just here on that second chain. So you're just going to go into the next one along. So that's going to be 1. You can count as you go. 1, 2. So I'll meet you when you get to the end of this chain. Slip stitch into those remaining 20 and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty, so here I am all slip stitched. Now I'm going to take out that stitch marker from the row and we've already just worked into just there. And what we're going to do is we're going to put another half double crochet into that same row end. So next to that first one just there, half double crochet, just like that. So there's our first triangle. Yeah, it looks good on. So anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to half double crochet into the next row end where that next stitch marker is. Now at this point you might think that we're going to be doing a mirror image. That is really annoying. You might think we'll be doing a mirror image of what we did on this side, but we're not going to, because I found that when I was testing this out, doing that just made this part look horrible. So what we're going to be doing is just repeating what we did here. At this point, you're going to make a chain of 20. 22. You're going to slip stitch back down 21 to the beginning. You're going to half double crochet again into this row end. You're going to put half double crochets into each row end till you get to here. You're going to chain, put a half double crochet in there, chain 121, slip stitch back down, well, skipping the first chain from the hook, slip stitch back down 99 chains, and you're going to repeat the process. You're going to stick your hook through. Just, if you want, you can go back and look at this again. But really, that's what you're doing. And then once you have repeated everything you've done here, you're just going to put half double crochets into each row end all the way back to the beginning, at which point you are going to slip stitch into that stitch above the chain of 1 from the beginning, so the first stitch to close the round, chain 1, cut the yarn, tie off, weave in your ends. And that's it, we're done. And then all we have to do, all we have left is to just go away, finish everything up, weave in all loose ends. Later on, we're going to meet back up. We're going to try on our tops. We're going to see how they look. I think it's going to look good. I mean, I've hit a couple of snags here and there. Unfortunately, I put this on my dress form. I put this on Ruby to practice doing the straps. So having done that, because Ruby's shoulders don't move, it stretched the top part just here out of shape, so it's a lot wider than it was when I first made it. So that's slightly annoying, but it doesn't look bad. We'll see how it looks in the end. So yes, once we've gone away, once we've tried on our tops and see how they look, we're going to meet back up for the courtyard where I'm going to prance about and show you what it looks like. So I don't think we need to meet back up again till then. I think you know everything you need to know. If you need to reference what we did before with the previous strap thing, just go back. I'll try and put a timestamp for that. If I haven't, please let me know and I will do that. Alright, so I'll see you soon. When we see how it looks. Alright. Alrighty, here is the finished top. Yes. Yes. So, yeah, as you can see, very quick, very simple to make, not a lot goes into it. I was really very disappointed when I stretched the upper part of this top, but I'm also very happy with the way it's turned out. So it's a sort of a bittersweet win, I guess you could say. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you like the top. I look forward to sharing this skirt design with you next. Yes, and that's all that I need to say. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.